The Buffalo Bills made a statement this week with a ground game that looked more refined, more physical, and most of all, more intentional. From the opening whistle, it was clear that the offensive staff made some key adjustments that paid off in a big way. This wasn't just a team running the ball to keep the defense honest. This was a team that wanted to impose its will on the ground. 32 rushes for 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, and what might be the most encouraging part, it wasn't flashy, it was technical, deliberate, and dominant between the tackles. One of the most noticeable changes in this matchup was the type of runs the Bills leaned into. For the first 3 weeks of the season, they were heavy on zone runs. That flipped completely this week. This was a gap scheme-heavy approach, and it showed. James Cook, who had leaned more into zone reads in previous games, ran 13 gap plays compared to just 9 zone runs. That's a big shift in strategy. In fact, in the first 3 games combined, Cook had 33 zone runs and only 20 gap runs. That balance flipped in this game, and it wasn't just a coincidence. The Bills clearly saw something in the opposing defensive line, and they went right at it with a more physical, downhill brand of football. Even more interesting than the run type was where those runs came from. Every single run play was from under center. No shotgun handoffs. That's another massive shift in approach. In weeks 1 through 3, about 75% of their runs came from under center. In this game, 100%. It might sound like a small thing, but it makes a big difference in how a defense reads the play. It gives the running back more time and momentum to read the line of scrimmage. It sets up play action better, and it disguises intent more effectively. That setup allowed James Cook to press the line, manipulate defenders with his footwork and vision, and hit creases with decisiveness. The play-action game, by the way, is starting to cook too. This was the 3rd straight week the Bills used play-action on more than 30% of their pass plays. In this game, that number was 39%, and Josh Allen was deadly with it. 8 of 9 passing for 77 yards off play-action. Efficient, smart, balanced. It's exactly the kind of mix you want to see when the run game is this effective. The run game isn't just gaining yards anymore. It's setting up the rest of the offense. And let's give some serious flowers to this offensive line. This was probably one of their cleanest games from a technique and execution standpoint. The way they executed double teams was textbook. Timing, leverage, communication, it was all there. On run after run, you could see the linemen engage at the first level, seal off defenders, and peel off to the second level at just the right moment. They weren't getting caught in no man's land. They were controlling the point of attack, creating space for Cook, and giving him lanes to work with. The synergy was legit, and it wasn't just 1 or 2 guys. This entire group was locked in. If you saw the all-22 footage, you'd know what I mean when I say this run game looked like poetry in motion. Everyone moving in sync, everyone knowing their assignment. Cook obviously made plays with his vision and burst, but he wasn't doing it alone. The trenches were owned by Buffalo. And it wasn't just pretty, it was violent, gritty football. A lot of work between the tackles. Not a lot of bouncing outside. This was about trusting the guards, the centers, the tight ends to create movement where it matters. And they did. Speaking of tight ends, Dalton Kincaid deserve a nod here. He only played 22 snaps, but man, did he make them count. Whether it was his downfield block on Khalil Shakir's touchdown, his seal on James Cook's score, or even his own 28-yard touchdown catch, Kincaid made a noticeable impact. And you want to see more of that. More opportunities for him to be an extension of the run game and a reliable target in the passing game. Now let's talk Josh Allen. 72% of his throws went to his first read in this game. That's a big deal. That tells you the game plan was clear. The coverage reads were on point, and Allen was sharp. Normally, he's sitting under 60% on first read throws, sometimes even in the low 50s. This week, different story. He knew what he was looking at and trusted what he saw. That's a sign of a well-schemed defense, but it's also a sign of a quarterback who's dialed in. 16 completions on 22 attempts. 2 touchdowns. 1 pick. Let's talk about that interception for a second. 3rd and 10. Keon Coleman runs a beautiful vertical route, sells the inside step, and creates separation. That safety, a rookie no less, just made a heck of a play. Allen tried to fit it in there, trusted the look took a calculated risk, and the safety beat the throw. Could Coleman have pulled away a little more? Maybe. But that's a throw I don't mind seeing Allen make. That's trust. That's aggression. And sometimes the defense just wins. Allen did get sacked 3 times, which is rare. But context matters. The first one? He had time. Ryan Van DeMark had a tough assignment against a wide 9 rusher, and maybe the pass set could have been more vertical, but Allen usually escapes those. The second sack? Osiris Torrance got beat clean inside. Third and forever, 5-man protection, and the defender just blew it up. The last one? Felt like Allen had already decided to take off and run, but the lane wasn't there. So yeah, 3 sacks, but nothing alarming. Protection overall was solid. Allen was the 8th least pressure quarterback in the league that week. Time to pressure was nearly 2.8 seconds. Plenty of time in today's NFL. Keon Coleman's performance stood out too. This might have been his best game as a route runner. The way he bent his stems, created leverage, and manipulated defenders. That's the next level stuff you want from a young receiver. He's not just big and athletic. He's learning how to win with nuance. And the way he cooked that corner on the vertical route was a perfect example. The poor guy got benched right after that play, and honestly, it was deserved. Coleman was cooking him all game. Khalil Shakir also popped off the screen, not just with that highlight touchdown, but with a huge 3rd down conversion later in the game. He's becoming a reliable option in clutch moments. And then there's Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore, Josh Palmer, all rotating and contributing in different packages. The Bills are showing so many different looks with their personnel: 21 personnel, 22 personnel, fullbacks, double tight ends, even 2-back sets with Cook and Reggie Gilliam. It's becoming increasingly hard for defenses to key in on what Buffalo wants to do on a given play. James Cook continues to dominate not just the touches, but the snap counts. He was on the field for 43 of 59 offensive snaps. That's a heavy load, and while it's great to see him producing, there's a little concern about wear and tear. You like to see Ray Davis and Ty Johnson get a few more touches, just to keep Cook fresh for the stretch run. But make no mistake, he's playing like a top-tier back right now. The burst, the vision, the versatility, it's all there. We can't wrap this section without more love for the offensive line. Ryan Van DeMark in particular. This guy doesn't have a ton of starting experience, but he stepped in and played his heart out. Did he give up a couple pressures? Sure, but the majority of his snaps were clean. He was a beast in the run game, blowing open lanes, getting to the second level, executing combo blocks. It was all there. If you're nitpicking a couple of missteps out of 56 excellent snaps, you're missing the bigger picture. He looked like a starting caliber tackle out there, and that's exactly what you want from your depth. Everything about this offensive performance, run scheme, blocking, personnel diversity, quarterback decisiveness, it all points to a unit that's evolving. That's the word, evolving. They're not relying on just one way to win. They're building out layers. And the more layered this offense gets, the harder they become to stop. Shifting over to the defensive side of the ball, the story gets a little more complicated. Statistically, it doesn't look great. 189 rushing yard allowed on 34 carries with a touchdown. And yeah, that's a number that raises eyebrows. But the film tells a slightly different story. This wasn't about the defensive line getting blown off the ball or being physically overmatched. Actually, the front held its ground pretty well. The bigger issue? Missed tackles. Tons of them. It wasn't about losing gaps. It was about what happened after the first hit didn't land. The Bills allowed an average of 0.7 yards before contact on runs in this game. That's one of the best marks in the entire league for the week. So again, defenders were getting to the ball. But once they got there, they weren't finishing. 165 of those rushing yards came after contact. That's a brutal number. It speaks directly to poor technique, bad angles, and maybe even a lack of physicality or urgency in key moments. And it wasn't just one or two players. Terrell Bernard missed 3 tackles. Joey Bosa missed 3. Taron Johnson had 2. One of them on a play that should have been a dead stop in the hole, but turned into a touchdown run. Dorian Williams whiffed badly in open space. Even Trey White, who's usually pretty sure-handed, missed a key tackle. Taylor Rapp took a terrible angle on that same touchdown run and failed to close. Across the board, The tackling just fell apart. What makes it worse is that this same issue showed up last week. It was easy to chalk that up to a Thursday night short week type of thing, but now you've got a pattern. 2 straight games with bad tackling and missed opportunities. That's not just a fluke anymore. That's a red flag, and it needs to be cleaned up immediately. Dorian Williams in particular had a rough outing. You can live with growing pains from young players, but this was something else. He looked lost in coverage, dropping into grass, reading the quarterback but not reacting to routes, hesitating on breaks. And against the run, it wasn't much better. Fooled by play action, overcommitting, slow to fill his gap. And then when the moment came to make a stop, he didn't finish. The missed tackle on Spencer Rattler in open space was brutal. He's got all the tools, athleticism, speed, size, but the instincts just aren't there yet. He's not processing fast enough. And in a defense that thrives on reaction and discipline, that's a problem. It's getting to the point where Shaq Thompson needs more reps. In limited snaps, Thompson has looked sharp, decisive, instinctive, and physical. He may not have the same ceiling as Williams, but right now, he's got the better floor. If you're going up against a smart offensive coordinator like Josh McDaniels, you better believe they're going to find number 42 and go right at him. Dorian Williams is becoming the weak link, and until the mental side of his game catches up to the physical tools, he's going to get exposed. Now, the pass defense, that's a different story. Overall, it was pretty strong. Only 126 passing yards allowed. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 4th best in expected points added per pass attempt for the entire week. They blitzed a lot, 38% of Rattler's dropbacks, and it worked. When Rattler was blitzed, he was 6 of 11 for only 43 yards. When he was pressured, he completed just 4 of 9 passes for 14 yards. That's impressive. The only time he did real damage was when he was kept clean, 14 of 18 for 112 yards and a lone passing touchdown. So yeah, you still need those one-on-one wins in the pass rush to get home without bringing extra bodies. Bosa had a few moments, Taquan Jones flashed a bit, and TJ Sanders had one solid win, but there weren't many clean individual rush wins. And without Ed Oliver or Daquan Jones consistently collapsing the pocket, you could feel the need for more firepower up front. Bobby Babich did a good job dialing up pressure, using 6-man rushes to stress protections, and showing some creative looks to get Rattler moving off his spot. The back end held up, for the most part, though there were some signs of disconnect, especially on in-breaking routes. A lot of the corners were playing outside leverage, clearly expecting inside help, either from a linebacker or safety, and that help just wasn't there. It wasn't a scheme issue so much as it was poor execution and miscommunication. If the help's late or flat-footed, that outside leverage becomes a liability. Cole Bishop, though, made a statement with that interception. Range, vision, ball skills. It was an elite play, and he had a few other moments that stood out. Coming downhill with authority, making good fits in the run game. You can see him starting to play faster, more confidently. If he continues on that trajectory, this secondary has a nice building block on the back end. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, whispers have become reality. Jalen Ramsey, widely regarded as one of the league's most fearsome cornerbacks, has reportedly agreed to join the Buffalo Bills. While official sources remain tight-lipped, insiders hint that the deal is all but done, sparking an immediate buzz across social media and locker rooms alike. For months, speculation has swirled about Ramsey's next destination. Teams with championship aspirations have been quietly circling, hoping to lure the elite defender with promises of glory and a stacked supporting cast. Now, the Bills, already a team with a reputation for aggressive defense, appear to have landed a marquee talent who could redefine their secondary. Analysts are quick to point out that Ramsey's presence could dramatically alter the dynamics in the AFC, giving Buffalo a psychological edge before the season even begins. Fans have reacted with a mixture of excitement and disbelief. Some envision Ramsey shutting down opposing top receivers week after week, creating matchups nightmares that could elevate the Bills to the status of true Super Bowl contenders. Others caution that integrating a player of Ramsey's caliber is never simple. Team chemistry, play calling adjustments, and salary cap implications all play a role. Still, the mere possibility of Ramsey patrolling the backfield in Buffalo has ignited a frenzy of jerseys, hashtags, and bold predictions on forums nationwide. The buzz extends beyond the field. Social media pundits and sports talk shows are already crafting scenarios, debating whether this acquisition signals the Bills' all-in approach to a championship or is simply the first in a series of high-profile moves. One thing is clear: wherever Ramsey lands, expectations follow. For Buffalo, the arrival of a player with his reputation, confidence, and sheer talent could mark the beginning of a new defensive era, one fans are eager to witness unfold under the bright lights of New Era Field. As murmurs turn into headlines, the NFL world waits with bated breath. Could this be the signing that tips the balance of power in the AFC? Only time will tell, but for now, the Bills' defensive line just got a whole lot scarier, and the rumor mill shows no signs of slowing down. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.